No, that's a very important point, that it's not just the bases in Syria, of course, it's also the power or ability to resupply its troops in Africa. And we have seen Russia really intensify the relations, in some cases, regime changes, all kinds of um, psyops, as they call it, psychological operations in certain African countries. We saw Wagner even before Prigozhin's coup attempt, and afterwards. Still present in some of the African countries. So Russia clearly has an interest, or at least had an interest in Africa. So it's very important to keep this in mind, that by losing Syria, now Russia will need to find, not impossible, of course, and I'm sure there is some sort of contingency that they are already thinking about, but some of the routes and again, ability to have a base from which they would resupply their troops and sort of military extensions on the African continent. So that would be very interesting to monitor that, I think. And from the timing perspective, one of the reasons why I asked this question is so many things are happening in the world right now. You look at the Middle East, you look at um, uh, South America, you look at even in Central America. Um, some of the allies of the United States are very concerned, or very um, in this mode of waiting, because there's so much art uncertainty. And there is a theory that most of the countries in the world are trying to strengthen their positions, whatever positions they have, before January 20th, before Donald Trump goes into the White House. So then they will start the relationship with the new White House based on those fortified positions. So this was a very long-winded question, and also a comment, I guess. But I'm curious as to what you think about the timing of events in Syria as it relates to the US elections and President Trump taking office in January. And Georgi K, let's start from you.
Well, we always say that everything is interconnected, and I would agree with you that, yeah, the timing was probably chosen to match the elections and the results of the elections, and then arriving of the new administration, the new president to the Oval Office. Um, the positions that people have, I mean, people, politicians in different countries, different leaders are planning to fortify for themselves in order to have a leverage in talks when it comes to the global security issues that probably, and we all feel it and we read it and we hear it from observers, are coming. I mean, I'm about the talks in general on the bigger scale, on the global scale. This is important to understand, that everybody wants to have a better position in the world. That is an explanation of renewed, very aggressive offensive in Ukraine from the Russian side, already confirmed participation of Northern Korean troops in it, with some serious casualties for the last several days, I would say. And yeah, and whatever happened in Syria, it just a defeat of not only Russia but also for Iran as well. And we have to understand that Iran, being a factor in the Middle Eastern politics for quite a long time, and historically, I would say, but under this regime for the last 20, 25 years, it was a very brutal, I would say, involvement, the support of terrorist groups and some proxy forces like Hamas, Hezbollah, and some others, and Houthis for that matter. And this is also kind of a projection not only for Turkey but for Israel as well, because the time, and as we discussed before in our bilateral conversations, I would say when when they started, Israel and the United States having different objectives, probably, and we know about it, they also start to hit the targets inside Syria that are important for them to be demolished or destroyed. So all the major parts in this equation um, were prepared for this. I mean, militarily speaking, right? So even now, if we look at actions of Israel, Israel has basically gone deeper into Syrian territory, like basically taking over the most of the Daria province and basically taking over also the biggest dam in that area that controls actually irrigation system for the southern and some parts of the central part of Syria, which is important for agriculture. So everybody wants to take as much tools in their hands in order to have a bargaining during the negotiations. But we have to arrive to that point when the process will become a political one. Now we're looking at it's a pure military
Tactic.
actions, military deployments, and basically we are in the military campaign phase at the moment. But the
Mhm.
time when all these sides will have to sit down and clarify certain things, including external players like Israel, Turkey, and the United States, for that matter, I think it's coming. And it will
Yeah.
come right by the time the new president will take his seat in the Oval Office.
Mhm.